Good morning.
Good morning, Karen. Good morning to you as well.
Good morning.
Welcome to Coffee and Conversation.
Okay.
Just a couple of announcements before we begin. Tomorrow we're having a recovery resource fair here at Capital Recovery Center from 10 o'clock to 3. You can come in. There is no need for registration. Just stop by. We're going to be offering community resources, employment, health services, peer support, recovery support services, sober living services, social services, transportation, treatment services, and navigation. And our schedule for row is for July. July 7th is going to be our first row, and it's going to be out in Wendy's, the old Wendy's.
All right. What else we got, Mr. Dingle? That's it.
We got our, on Thursday, we have all recovery meeting as well.
Oh, yes. Our recovery meeting is always special. We will be going over the 12 steps. I believe we went over steps 1 through 4, and we're going to pick up where we left off with the 12 steps. And we will, hopefully you'll be able to tune in at 1 p.m. Thursday. All right. My name is Michael, one of the recovery coaches here at Capital Recovery Center. And it's always an honor to be able to do everything that we are excited to do here. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics to talk about: developing your personal recovery plan. Developing your personal recovery plan. So we will be discussing all those things right there. That will be the topic for the day. And here at Capital Recovery Center, when we do a recovery plan with recoveries, it's always tailor-made for that particular individual. No recovery plan is going to be the same across the board for every individual. Every person's recovery plan will have some type of similarities, but for the most part, they will all be different based on like strengths, needs, and behaviors. All right, so today we want to we got this handout. It's called Developing Your Personal Recovery Plan, and we got it off a website called recovery.org. They have a lot of great things and that you can go get to assist you in your recovery process, or if you're the person on the other end helping another individual in their recovery process. This particular website called recovery.org have a host of resources available for anybody in the addiction-related field. So if you would like to have this particular handout, just leave the number 5 in the comment section, and I'll make sure to inbox it to you, send it through email, or send you the link to where this material is. So starting off, we're going to say, regardless of whether you are currently in an addiction treatment program, you have already finished the program, or you are going at it alone and attempting to manage your addiction, you need to have a plan. This is very important. A lot of people don't understand that, but instead of trying to just wing it and go through the motions, you have to have a plan. So a recovery, developing a personal recovery plan is very important. I always tell individuals, no matter who they are, male, female, no matter what their spiritual beliefs may be, I always tell them it's good to have a development of recovery plan when you're in the program and when you come home. So you'll find out where you are in your step. All right. Why create a personal recovery plan? Creating a personal written recovery plan is important for several reasons. First, it gives you a blueprint to follow. It provides structure, reliable source of good ideas to get or keep you on track as you pursue your recovery goals. It can be all too easy to forget or avoid commitments if they are merely ideas that are being held in your mind. I'm 50 years old, a grateful 50 years old, and I still write things down. My wife, one day we was in the car and it was me, my wife, and my mother. And I'm sitting there texting something to my phone so I can remember to do it when I got home. My mother's in the back seat. My mom said, "Hey, son, can you remind me to do this?" And I looked at her and said, "Okay." So I started texting it to myself. Then my wife said, "Babe, remind me to do this." And I said, all y'all need to write it down because I'm writing it down for my own self. And you did y'all. And then my mother started laughing. And my wife said, "Why you laugh?" She said, "Because we all telling him to remind us about stuff. And he over there trying to remind himself about his own stuff." And the reason why I say that, it says, can be easily to forget or avoid commitment if they are merely ideas that are being held in your mind. A recovery plan is the same thing. You have to write all these things down because it's very important, because you're going to forget some things, some steps, some commitments. You might have doctor appointments. That's a commitment. If you think about it, in the recovery process, we wasn't going to the doctors when we were actively using. So when you change your lifestyle from that lifestyle to a new lifestyle, your commitment to keep your doctor's appointments is very vital. Where was that? This is especially true if you become stressed, if you experience a break in your motivation, or if you find yourself facing temptation. But by writing out a formal, detailed plan specifically designed with your needs and goals in mind, you greatly improve your chances of sustaining your recovery efforts. By writing them out, writing it down, developing your personal recovery plan. The United States Department of Health and Human Services lists the following benefits of creating a personalized written recovery plan. Somebody can take that.
All right. The first bullet says identify goals for achieving wellness. The second bullet states specify steps to take to reach those goals. Consider both daily activities and longer-term goals. Bullet number 4, track your progress.
Track it.
And the last one, it says identify triggers and ways to manage them. And so that's greatly important. So there, they give us a list of 5 bullets to consider and to write as a guideline of means to take towards implementing and perfecting these plans. All right. And so I'll read the next one, and it says, prepare to create your personal recovery plan. That's number 1. It says, before you begin to write out a plan of action for your recovery, you need to first assess your current status and decide upon your major needs and goals. Here are some questions to ask yourself. Number 1, what are my motivations for making this change? Keeping my job, my family, my friends, improving my self-esteem, and regaining pride in myself and my behavior. Feeling better and becoming physically healthier, other reasons. These are some of the things that you can question yourself or search within your own lifestyle and says, what are the areas of needs or concerns that I need to make an adjustment or establish a concrete plan that I can work towards?
What are they?
And achieve them.
Yeah.
Right? And so for me, I am a recovering person that's in recovery. And when I came out of my recovery, what I had to do was basically I had to navigate through the system. I had to create a plan of short-term goals, get my ID back in place.
Short-term.
Those are the simple. To me, they were simple, but to a lot of people, those are some big hurdles.
Yes.
If you are coming from a different ethnicity or have a different cultural background, or you may find yourself, because I work with a gentleman that we was helping, and he was from Puerto Rico, and he was born there, and he was trying to get his birth certificate. And we had a guy, he was from Cuba. And so those can be very challenging, but those are significant plans that a person needs, because he was trying to get housing, he was trying to get employment. And so work on those small things. To us, it may be small, but to someone else, it may be big.
Hey, welcome, Mr. Kevin. We appreciate you tuning in. You always join in with us every week, and we really appreciate your support. Like you said, paying your bills is one of the things you got right now. Okay, now, talking about developing your plan, you was done?
Well, there's another bullet. What challenges will potentially be my biggest barriers?
Whoa.
Are my coping skills currently limited? Do you have coping plans in place? If not, work on them. Do I have sufficient support systems, family, friends, support groups in place for times when I may need assistance and encouragement? Do I have legal or financial issues to address as part of my plan of action? Kevin just mentioned making plans towards his bills. And so that's a great point, Kevin. Can I commit to following the steps I create in order to change my life? Can I honestly say that I am ready to make a major positive change in my life and that I am willing to do what it takes to make it happen?
Being willing. That's a good point right there. I'm going to jump in.
Mm-hmm.
It says, can I honestly say that I am ready to make a major positive change in my life, and that I am willing? Because a lot of times we know, we are aware that we need to change some things about our life, especially in the area of substance use disorder. However, we aren't always willing to take the necessary steps to do it. So when we're talking about developing a recovery plan, you have to deal with some honesty and say, you know, this area needs to be changed. And not only do I know it needs to be changed in my life, I'm also willing to do the necessary steps to go about that change or to bring about that change. So that's very important as well. All right, where we at now?
Component of your personal recovery plan? Someone want to read that one?
I'll go. When you are ready to write your plan, make lists of the elements that you will want to address. For example, personal triggers, places, circumstances, people to avoid, specific strategies for addressing each identified triggered situation.
Whoa.
Ways to improve self-care, such as relaxation strategies, socialization opportunities, health and wellness strategies, sufficient sleep, good diet, etc. Coping skills you need to learn or to improve, anger management, emotional self-regulation, and relapse prevention strategies. Go to support group meetings, have a sober buddy, attend counseling, etc.
That's some good stuff here. Let's back up. And it was talking about when she was reading personal triggers, places, circumstances, people to avoid. These personal triggers can only, when we're developing your recovery plan, the personal triggers, the recovery coach can't pick them out for you. You have to put those down. You have to say, these particular places I need to stay away from because they are, I call high risk situations. If you know these areas will trigger you. Now, again, I'm mindful that some of the triggers, things that might trigger you, you can't change. You might see a particular store you used to go to. You ain't gonna be able to go there and lift the store up and move it. You just might have to find another store to go to or another house to go to, another location. So some circumstances you have no control over. So, but you do need to put in your recovery plan what your triggers are. Find out what your triggers are and then work from there.
Writing your personal recovery plan. It says you can create your written plan any way that feels most natural to you. In general, you'll be making promises about the positive changes that you plan to implement in order to uphold your recovery and remain abstinent. In addition, you may also want to commit to certain consequences that you will be willing to incur should you not live up to your promises. You will also want to detail specific steps that you will take to address each problem or issue that is a threat to your sobriety.
Yes.
I like that you have to write down the consequences that you'll be willing to incur, because I think it sets a realistic expectation in your recovery plan.
Yeah.
And it also points out to be strategic in your planning, because a lot of times we may have these grandiose ideas. However, we have to be ready for, sometimes we may stumble along the way.
Yeah.
And so if we stumble along the way, the promises that we make, that's all right. Pick yourself back up, brush yourself off, and we might have to make some adjustments.
That's right. Like Mr. Kevin said, you may not be able to go to your family reunion. That's a tough thing to swallow, but it's also true because if that will trigger you to go back to the stuff you used to do, it ain't even worth me seeing. I'm gonna have to FaceTime some people. I can't go. And remember, it's about developing your own personal recovery plan. But the only person that knows everything about you outside of the God of my understanding is you. You know everything about you. You know what you can do. You know what triggers you. You know where you should go. So those things are very important that you be able to, like she was just reading and she was saying, writing your personal recovery plan. It's very important that you be real detailed about it. And remember, the personal recovery plan, it's strictly about you, what you need to work on, what areas you think are high, at the highest level that must be addressed first. Like he was mentioning ID. A lot of people who are struggling with substance use disorder, they coming from a different lifestyle. I used to be out there and I used to just hide my ID and then lose it because I didn't want to get pulled over by the cops and they knew who I was. That would mess up me lying about who I was. So I would get rid of ID. But then when I tried to get my life back together, now I don't got no IDs. Like, man, now what I'm gonna do? I gotta go through this process. And that's what a lot of people are struggling with identification. That's why we often help people here at Capital Recovery Center to get, that's a shameless plug, to get temporary IDs. And then we provide you with a list of different organizations or ways to get your permanent ID. So that's one of the things that we help here, and that we can put that all in. Include that in your personal recovery plan.
And also, if they come out tomorrow, this is
tomorrow
sidebar.
What time?
From 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Oh, okay.
We intend on having someone here to assist you.
That's right.
With that process of obtaining your ID. However, also be mindful that there is a process of having 6 points, and so I want people to be aware about that aspect if you're looking for a personal ID. So that is one of the steps they require, that you have the 6 points.
Yeah.
But if you having problem getting your birth certificate, we have someone to my left.
We have a birth certificate specialist on staff.
Right, and so she can
She's
assist you
good.
with that as well. And so feel free to come out and we can help you navigate through some of them barriers. And if that's part of your plan of obtaining or gaining access to your identification and some other things, please come out and join us.
Again, we were going over developing your personal recovery plan. And we went through or we previewed or discussed a few things like why create a recovery plan. We also talked about preparing to create your personal recovery plan. And we talked about the components of your personal recovery plan. And then we went to writing your personal recovery plan. And all of those things are necessary. And if you would like to contact us and come down and be a part of the recovery center, just give us a call. We do an appointment only. And all the recoveries at one point in time will have to go through the process of developing a recovery plan, because the idea is to get individuals who struggle with substance use disorder to live a maintained lifestyle away from the substance that they are getting away from.
Do you want to go over the
Okay. Yes, the plan?
Yeah.
Personal recovery plan. This is a template here that we're going to be able to go over with you guys. It says personal triggers that put me at high risk for using. Remember, I told you, you know your personal triggers. So you have to identify or show what your personal triggers are in this plan. And what's the next one?
How will I address each trigger?
Ah, man, see, this is a new coping skills that we're talking about here. It's not only that you mark down your triggers, now you need to come up with how I'm going to address them. When it happens, what are you going to do? I'll tell you a funny story. I'm born and raised in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I was in Atlantic City one day, and I was riding past this particular house. When I seen the house, and I used to go smoke my crack in and do my heroin, my stomach instantly got in knots. And I was in my car, and my friend, I went down there with my friend, he went to the store. I left my friend in Atlantic City. I got on the expressway, he called me and said, "Hey, where you at?" I said, "Man, I'm on my expressway on the way to Violent." You know, that's because that was something that triggered me. But my way of dealing with the trigger was to immediately get away from that spot. And I didn't care if I had to leave him. I just didn't want to go back to using drugs, and I knew it, and I knew that was triggering me. So I jumped on the expressway and I left. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we talked about personal triggers that put me at high risk. And then she said, how will you address each trigger? What you gonna do?
And the next one is what? Ways I will increase my self-care. That's a great one. You know, concentrate on how you're going to maintain a holistic lifestyle. I want to use both those words because go ahead right here, Mike.
Maintain.
That's his one. And then the other word is holistic, because a lot of times we have to really start taking care of ourselves. When we was I know me, myself personally, when I was in my state of addiction, my self-care wasn't my first priority. And those who know about addiction knows that, you know, when we wake up in the morning, I know, let me keep the focus on myself. I learned that from TC. Keep the focus on yourself. Yeah. When I woke up in the morning, going to the doctor wasn't my first priority, I must admit. And so if there was a drug choice that I prefer, I use that as my first priority of that day. But now that I'm in recovery, my first priority is thanking my higher power, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for giving me another day. That's just me. That's one of my first priorities when I wake up. Then another one could be read something that's positive and motivating. that's something else of self-care that you can do. For me, I may read a scripture. I may listen to some music that inspire me or encourage me to stay focused or stay grounded in what we say in recovery. Stay green, stay rooted to the process. That's part of a plan that you can put in place. The next one is
coping skills I will learn or improve, and how I will do this. Coping skills I will learn and improve. If you already, you do, I know that. You already have coping skills, you just need to learn how to utilize the coping skills. Or I've learned, my mentor taught me, the same tenacity and the same energy I put in going to get the drug that I wanted to use. He said, Michael, that is never going to leave you. That is you. You're just using your energy wrong. And now that I don't currently use any substance, thank God, that my energy and my enthusiasm that I had to go get the drug, he was right. I still have it. I just use it for a positive source right now. And that's the same thing. That's a coping skill that you have. Coping skills, the things that you have as coping skills that you might think are sufficient or powerful enough to help you in your recovery process, is a part of you and you can use them. But you also have to learn new coping skills, because most of the time when we're using a substance or drinking some type of alcohol, we're doing it to change the way we might be feeling or going through something. And it's just the lack of coping skills. Now, I still have the same situations that I might go through in life, but I have better coping skills to deal with those situations. And that's the only thing that you need to do as well.
The next one is my relapse prevention strategies.
Uh-oh.
So writing down what your strategies are. Here they put an example. I feel the urge to use, if I feel the urge to use, I will call my 12-step sponsor instead.
Yeah, you have to find out, write them down. My relapse prevention strategy. This is my strategy. This is what I'm going to use. Initially, I started out, I didn't utilize the resources I had or the support system I had. As I got more into my recovery process, I noticed that I was failing because I was failing to utilize my resource or my support network. So your relapse prevention strategies, write them down and make sure you utilize them in every situation.
The next one is additional commitments that will help me stick to my recovery plan. They also give an illustration as I will be clean and sober for my daughter's graduation celebration in June.
Nice.
And if you fail to be clean and sober this year for your loved one's graduation, make that a plan for next year.
Make a commitment to it.
That's right. Stick to your promises. And if you need support in that area, you need more coping skills in that area, reach out to us here at Capital Recovery Center. We'd be more than willing to assist you on that.
That's right. The numbers on the screen, 1-800-236-2448 or 856-391-7449. Reach out to us. And the last one, right?
Yeah.
Consequences that I agree to accept. Should I break any of the above promises? Okay, line up. 5 spot. Beat you down. And you gotta be willing to accept some consequences if you fail to keep up to your plan, your recovery plan. If you fail to keep up to it, make some consequences, have somebody hold you accountable. It's not all about, just getting away with everything. You need to be held accountable. And it's very fine line to find out which individuals or how much pressure you can apply to each recovery, because some people can't take it the way you might be dealing with them. But you got to remember, have somebody that will hold you accountable. If you do not have anybody in your life that will hold you accountable, I suggest you find someone, recovery coaches like us, a sponsor, a spiritual advisor. Everybody needs somebody that will hold them accountable and say, hey, that's wrong, or that's a good job, or something. You need that. All right, what we got? That's it. Okay, man. Again, we appreciate everybody that's here. We are your recovery coach, excuse me, specialists here And we just want to thank everybody. Don't forget about the event tomorrow at 10 a.m. here at 72 North Pearl Street, Bristol. We have a host of different agencies here that will be providing services for anyone, and you can sign up with them right here at our agency. My name is Michael, one of your capital recovery coaches.
I'm Craig, also one of your recovery coaches. Have a blessed day.
And I'm Karen, also recovery coach. Just even if you don't need the services, don't be afraid to stop by and get to know the center. Have a good day.
All right, brother Kevin. Thank you, man.
Thank
We really
you.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.